but I totally walked away and was, I think I consider myself an agnostic more than, I don't think I was an atheist, but I thought, there's got to be a God, but I didn't think he was a personal God or anything. And he calls me into his office one day, and he said, the district doesn't have faith in you, we're terminating you. I felt really hopeless and lost. And there happened to be a church not too far, about 5 minutes down the street. Jesus met me where I was, because I know you're not supposed to make deals with Jesus. That's unbiblical, but I did. I said, Jesus, you rescue me from this, and I will dedicate my life to you. And I was rescued. I professed my faith, and they were baptized that very night, and he put me where I needed to be, working with children, doing band and choir. But also, I'm involved with Samaritan's Purse. It's like eating potato chips. You can't stop doing these. You do one mission, you keep on wanting to do them. Hi, my name is Thomas Jaskowski, and this is my testimony. I grew up in the church, kind of. My parents took me to church. My mom took me to church. It was a kind of a fundamental churches back in the 60s and early 70s, and I didn't take to it much. My dad did not go, rarely went, and he was kind of a rageaholic, and I just saw a lot of inconsistencies in all of it, and there were some scandals in the church, and by that time, I was done. I was too big for them to make me go anymore. So that would have been back, like I said, the early 70s, and I basically walked away from any kind of God. I know a lot of good people were praying for me, so I think that there were seeds planted. I think there was a few good youth ministers at that church. I think seeds were planted, but I totally walked away and was, I think I consider myself an agnostic more than, I don't think I was an atheist, but I thought, there's got to be a God, but I didn't think he was a personal God or anything. And the testimony of Jesus just didn't hit home at all. And I remained that way for 35 years. It was in California, and I had gone through different career things, and I finally ended up being a teacher. I ended up being a school teacher, and then I went on to be an intern at it was a large middle school in Newport Beach, California, and I seemed to have some leadership qualities. I was teaching band at the time, and they recruited me to be an apprentice. Or an intern, and I did that. I got my master's, and I became assistant principal. They hired me on to be assistant principal. A tough job, a lot of just bad stuff. I mean, from a few kids, and that was kind of the setup. And then I survived it. I did okay because the principal had hired me, and he was a good guy, good, strong Christian man. We were a good team. But then he retired, and they brought someone else in new, and we just didn't hit it off from the very beginning. And I can't say it was all his fault. It was partly mine. I was kind of talking smack behind his back too. But it just wasn't a good match, and I felt powerless pretty much. He calls me into his office one day, and he said, the district doesn't have faith in you, we're terminating you. And, stab in the heart, stab in the back. And I thought of all the things. And I was going to rally it. Some people were going to go to the school board for me and everything because this, what had happened. And I was just kind of my wit's end. And I was just, I go home that night. And we just adopted our little girl from Kazakhstan, and I had no prospects. I thought what I would do, try to go back into teaching. I felt really hopeless and lost. And my wife said, Tom, you got to be strong. You got to be strong because I was losing it. And there happened to be a church not too far, about 5 minutes down the street. And one afternoon after work, I went down there and I walked in the office. I said, I need to talk to someone, please. And this nice young man, I don't remember his name even, but he came out and he met me, and we went to a room. We went to some kind of room there. And I just broke down. He gave me about 2 hours of his time. We talked about so many things, about life and about all the things that go in life and the challenges and everything. And of course, he introduces the gospel again, which I kind of knew. I knew the gospel, and I just kind of broke down. I just remember having a big hug, but feeling better about it. And then that weekend, going to his church service, and at that church, and as often it happens when you're desperate or you're new believer or you're getting close, that sermon just speaks right to you. His name was Tom Holliday. He was assistant pastor, actually. And I just remember feeling, this is it. This is the comfort I need. This is the support I need. And that week they had a class. They called it a 101 class, and it was basically introducing, the gospel and the whole thing. And I took the class, and I remember it was a break or something. I remember going to the bathroom, and while I was in that bathroom, I said, Jesus, this is it. And Jesus met me where I was, because I know you're not supposed to make deals with Jesus. That's unbiblical, but I did. I said, Jesus, you rescue me from this, and I will dedicate my life to you. And I was rescued. And they had, I professed my faith, and they were baptized that very night, and I was baptized. And that was February 19th, 2006. And I was 46 years old. And everything changed. I mean, I didn't change right away in some ways. In fact, I got kind of arrogant about things, about my new beliefs, as I think some believers do. And you try to kind of, no, you're wrong, you're right. But that night, things changed, and God did rescue me. There happened to be an opening for a position in music at our district, and they slotted me in, and so God rescued me from that, and he put me where I needed to be, working with children, doing band and choir and strings, and I had a really good career. I retired 2 years ago, and I think I've made a difference in a lot of these kids' life. I had huge bands, huge choirs, and it was a good teaching career. That's the story. I love Jesus Christ with all my heart. Am I always faithful? No, I should do more. I know it's not about works, but I feel a little bit like James, your works, you show me your faith, I'll show you my works. So I do things. I need to evangelize and witness more, but I feel comfortable with Jesus Christ. I know where I'm going, and I look forward to seeing Jesus face to face, and just tell him, look in his eye and say, thank you, Lord, so much for saving me. Not so much because it was a public school and it was California, but what I did do, I think they kind of knew it. I tried to mostly witness my actions. Things like when almost everyone else had gone woke on Christmas music and everything, I always did Christmas music. Every year I had them sing a Silent Night, Holy Night, Round Yon Virgin. I'd throw in a song, Bring a Torch to Isabella, It is Jesus, Good Folk of the Village. And thank goodness I had administrators who didn't say anything. That's part of it. I'm sure they would have shut me down just like that. And if they, had, and I think now, maybe even just 2 or 3 years after retirement, you probably couldn't even do that. I'd always do a big patriotic concert with my 5th graders, and I would not shy away at all. And I would talk about how the founders were very, very religious. And, it was interesting. I taught them all 4 verses to the Star Spangled Banner, which people don't really know. And the last verse of the final verses, and what was it? In God is our trust. Yeah, in God is our trust. And the Star Spangled Banner, I can't remember exactly, but that was it. In God is our trust. And so I'd have hundreds of kids singing In God is our trust, or America the Beautiful, and all those things. Anyway, so, again, I wouldn't shy away from the word God in my repertoire. I'm not great at evangelism. And that's the excuse a lot of Christians use. I've gone downtown Knoxville and tried to scope out people and everything with this group here. And it's uncomfortable. I don't know what to say. I don't know why. I guess with many of us that way, it's hard to just kind of, street evangelize. I did go to UT campus, and it was my turn. And they said, Tom, and I talked to a couple nice gentlemen. They happened to be Catholic, and we got into purgatory, and I, without being like, I said, hey, it's really not in the Bible, but you know what? And I went through the whole, I guess the presentation, I want to be a better word of, I presented the gospel, And so I did it, and they were sweet and nice and receptive, and so that was a positive experience. We certainly, in doing the evangelism class, there was some rude people also, and a couple kind of scary people. But I'm doing that also. I'm involved with Samaritan's Purse. I'm actually helping out Mike Slack, pastor here, and I asked him if I could run the Samaritan Purse liaison with Calvary Chapel. We went once 2 years ago. Someone else had arranged it, and I thought this is really cool. And I went a couple more times, and I said, you know what, I'd like to get the whole Calvary Chapel involved. So we've done a couple. I'd like to get more people going, but it's hard. I've got to take off a few days during the week, and most people work. But yeah, I've done a couple Kentucky. We did Mississippi, and we just got back from Arkansas about a month ago, I guess. Something like that. Yeah, it was a tornado or flood, and Kentucky was flood. So those are always good. I like Samaritan's Purse a lot. It's a great organization, and they treat you real well, and they work you to death. But they feed you well, and just the fellowship with these other believers, these Samaritan Purse people. There's something special about a Samaritan Purse person. They really are. They're dedicated, and it's like eating potato chips. You can't stop doing these. You do one mission, you keep on wanting to do them. And then in October, I'm going to go to Tanzania through the church here, found a mission. I've never been to Africa. I thought, I used to do a few missionary things when I lived in California. We just like day trips. So I did a couple overnighters, but to Baja, California, orphanages there. There's a couple orphanages. And I'd actually do music with them. I actually brought down recorders and drums and drove everyone else crazy with the recorders. But yeah, I taught, we did a mini concert. So, I don't think they were getting much music at this orphanage. Pretty sparse orphanage in Baja. So that, my gift is not so much hammer and nail. I see some other guys that go around here, real carpenters that really can do a good job on carpentry and helping out that way. I'm learning how to tarp a roof now, but my gift is music still. It really is, and I wish, I'd like to have an outlet to do some more music with kids or with anybody. Like I said, top band for 20 some years, so that's kind of my forte. Band, choir. Different verses come to my head, and one of them is, to much is given, much is expected. And I'm not worried about my salvation, but I want to be the well done, good and faithful service, rather than the guy who, I'm certainly not the guy who buried it and didn't even get interest off it. But I think we can all do more. Well, no, not most people. I think could do more. That's just our human nature. It's hard sometimes to put ourselves out there and take risks. Like you said, uncomfortableness of, and I don't know why that is. So what? I'll never see this guy again. So what if he tells me to, no, get out of here, you Christian freak. Who cares? So I hope that someday, my prayer every day is to give me courage, wisdom, of course, but also courage to be a better disciple. Just peace and wisdom and, just peace and wisdom and just tranquility within my family and, because those are all distractions that drain my energy and make me less useful for God.